The old city of Sylhet held many secrets. One was the tale of the haunted tea shop. Locals spoke of a ghost, the spirit of a renowned poet. He appeared on full moon nights, seeking solace in the aroma of his beloved tea. The shop stood at the end of a narrow lane, forgotten and forlorn. Its wooden sign creaked ominously in the wind. People avoided the lane, especially after dark. The poet in his life had been irregular. He found inspiration in the steamy cups and the murmur of conversations. Now, his soul was said to be bound to the place. It was said that the ghost yearned to share his poetry, his words echoing in the silence of the night. Only a soul brave enough to face him would hear his mournful tales. Kazi, a seasoned traveler, was captivated by the legend. He had heard whispers of the ghost poet on his journey to Sylhet. Intrigued and a little afraid, he decided to visit the tea shop. The night he chose was stormy, rain lashed down and the wind howled. Locals he encountered warned him against his plan, but Kazi was determined. He felt strangely drawn to the legend. As he neared the lane, the air grew heavy. An unnatural stillness settled, the storm seemingly hesitant to approach the haunted place. With a deep breath, Kazi entered the lane. He could hear his own heart pounding in his chest. Each step felt heavy, as if he was walking against an invisible force, but he pressed on, his curiosity overriding his fear. The old tea shop loomed before him. Its windows were dark, the paint peeling. The door creaked open as if inviting him in. Kazi stepped inside, his senses on high alert. The air inside was thick with the scent of spices and old wood. Dust motes danced in the faint moonlight, filtering through the cracks. The storm outside seemed distant now, the silence within amplified. Kazi felt a presence. He was not alone. A cold shiver ran down his spine despite the humidity. He could hear the faint echo of whispers, unintelligible and distant. He saw a figure seated in the shadows, its back to him. He could not make out its features, but he could feel its eyes on him. Kazi felt a strange mix of fear and curiosity taking hold. Kazi took a hesitant step forward. The floorboards groaned under his weight, the sound deafening in the quiet. The figure in the shadows stirred, the whispers becoming more distinct. Lost, searching, poetry. The whispers came, fragmented and mournful. Kazi's heart pounded in his chest, but he found himself drawn to the voice. He called out, his voice hoarse, "Who is there? I mean no harm." The figure remained still, the whispers fading slightly, as if startled by his voice. Kazi inched closer, his hand outstretched. He wanted to see the figure's face, to understand the sorrow he felt emanating from it. The whispers started again, clearer now. Listen, the words. Feel the pain. The voice seemed desperate, as if longing to be heard after years of silence. As Kazi took another step, the air around him shimmered. The tea shop seemed to dissolve, the walls fading away. He gasped, fear gripping him for the first time. He found himself in a different place. It was a moonlit garden, the air filled with the scent of jasmine. He saw the figure standing under a tree, its back to him. The whispers were now a soft voice filled with melancholy. My poem's lost, forgotten. The figure turned, and Kazi finally saw him. It was the ghost of the poet, his face etched with sorrow. He reached out a hand towards Kazi. "You listen. You remember?" he pleaded. Kazi stepped towards him, mesmerized. He felt a strange connection with the poet, as if their souls resonated with each other. He was no longer afraid. As Kazi reached out to take the poet's hand, he felt a sharp tug on his own. He turned to find himself back in the tea shop, the ghostly realm gone. Standing before him was a small, wizened old man. He held a steaming cup of tea in his hand. He smiled kindly at Kazi, his eyes twinkling. "Don't worry, son," the old man said, his voice raspy but gentle. "He meant you no harm. He just wanted his story to be heard." Kazi looked around, the tea shop back to its normal, dusty self. The ghostly encounter felt like a dream. He looked back at the old man, confused and dazed. "Who was that?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. The old man chuckled, his eyes crinkling at the corners. "That, my dear boy, was the ghostwriter.